Why is there something rather than nothing? It's a question as old as philosophy itself, a puzzle that has haunted the minds of thinkers, scientists, poets, and dreamers throughout human history. Take a moment to let the enormity of that question sink in. Look around you. Everything you see, the trees outside your window, the light pouring through your screen, the very thoughts in your mind right now, exists. Philosophers define nothing as more than just an absence of objects or light. It's deeper than that. The absence of anything. No space, no time, no energy, no laws of physics. One of the most famous comes from ancient Greek philosophy. Parmenides argued that nothing cannot exist because nothing is not a thing. In quantum theory, the vacuum of space isn't a true nothingness. It's thought to be a frothing sea of potential, filled with tiny, fleeting particles governed by the laws of probability. But does this scientific explanation really answer our question? Quantum mechanics describes how something can arise from a vacuum state. But why does the vacuum itself exist? Another perspective worth considering comes from religious and metaphysical traditions. Many spiritual systems suggest that the reason for existence is grounded in a divine source, a creator, a god, or an uncaused prime mover. And then there's a fascinating, almost poetic idea from contemporary cosmology, the concept that maybe there could be many, many universes, not just ours. As you finish this video, pause for a moment. Look around you. Take in the colors, the sounds, the sensations that remind you. You are immersed in something. And that something, however inexplicable, is deeply, wonderfully precious. What is nothing anyway? To begin unraveling this enigma, we need to understand what the question is really asking. Philosophers define nothing as more than just an absence of objects or light. It's deeper than that. The absence of anything. No space, no time, no energy, no laws of physics, not even emptiness itself. A state of pure, unqualified nothingness, if such a concept can even truly be conceived. For centuries, thinkers have proposed answers to this paradox, all of which lead to even more questions. One of the most famous comes from ancient Greek philosophy. Parmenides in the 5th century BCE argued that nothing cannot exist because nothing is not a thing. Think about that. The moment we try to define nothing, we give it form or meaning, and therefore it becomes something. But this doesn't tell us why something exists. It only tells us that nothing, in its truest form, may be impossible for us to conceptualize. So where do we go from here? Let's consider one explanation rooted in modern science, the physics of quantum mechanics. In quantum theory, the vacuum of space isn't a true nothingness. Instead, it's thought to be a frothing sea of potential, filled with tiny, fleeting particles that pop in and out of existence, governed by the laws of probability. In this view, something may emerge as a result of inherent fluctuations in the fabric of reality itself. Think about it this way. In the quantum realm, even nothing cannot stay stable. It's almost as if existence itself is inevitable, as if the act of being is baked into the very nature of the universe. But does this scientific explanation really answer our question? Quantum mechanics describes how something can arise from a vacuum state. But why does the vacuum itself exist? Why are there laws and conditions that allow particles to emerge in the first place? Here's where some philosophers and scientists take a different route. What if there is no reason why something exists rather than nothing? What if the universe simply is a brute fact, an unexplainable reality? The late philosopher Ludwig Wittgenstein famously suggested that perhaps the answer to this grand question lies in accepting it as fundamentally unanswerable. If there is no cause or ultimate explanation for existence, then perhaps our attempts to find one are doomed from the start. But wait, doesn't that explanation feel unsatisfying? We're humans. We're storytellers. We crave meaning and reasons. The idea that something exists without cause feels incomplete, doesn't it? It's hard to let go of the need for answers. In Christianity, for instance, it is often posited that God exists necessarily, and that everything else exists because of God's will. In Hindu philosophy, concepts like Brahman point to a fundamental, eternal essence that underlies all existence. But even here, we are left with a question. If God or Brahman is the ultimate reason for why something exists, why do they exist rather than not exist? Why is there a source or creator to begin with? Doesn't every answer just push the paradox a little further up the chain? And then there's a fascinating, almost poetic idea from contemporary cosmology. The concept that maybe there could be many, many universes, not just ours. Perhaps we live in a multiverse, a vast field of infinite realities, each with its own distinct properties. In this view, something isn't rare or unique, it's everywhere. Many universes with different combinations of laws, particles, and phenomena could exist, but only certain ones, like ours, give rise to beings capable of asking deep questions about existence. But even if the multiverse exists, wouldn't we still need to ask, why does it exist? Is there any way to escape the infinite loop of reason and causation? Let's slow down for a second. Maybe instead of asking why there is something rather than nothing, we should consider what it means that we're able to ask the question at all. Perhaps the mystery of existence isn't meant to be resolved, but experienced. The very fact that you're here, listening to these words, pondering this question, is extraordinary. Out of all the possibilities, you exist now, in this moment. Some argue that this sense of awe and wonder is the answer itself. It connects us to the experience of being alive and engaged with the universe, a sort of cosmic appreciation for the fact that anything, let alone we, exist at all. And maybe that's the beauty of this question. It's not just about physics or metaphysics, it's about gratitude for the somethingness of life itself.